The sun in Cancun doesn't rise, it appears. And in seconds, the Caribbean changes color right before your eyes. Imagine watching it from your balcony, with the Caribbean just 30 steps away, without having paid a single extra dollar for anything you're experiencing in that moment. That's the Riu Caribe, an all-inclusive resort in the hotel zone of Cancun that has spent more than 2 decades being the favorite destination for those who know exactly what they want from a vacation. But there's something no other review has told you about this resort, something the guests themselves only discover when they arrive, and it can completely change the way you experience it. I'll tell you before this video is over. RIU Hotels was born in Mallorca, Spain in 1953. A Catalan family, the Rius, who started with a small summer hotel and ended up building one of the largest hotel empires in the world. Today, they operate more than 100 resorts across 19 countries. But the Caribbean transformed them. When RIU arrived in Cancun, they understood something others hadn't yet grasped. The Latin American traveler didn't want a minimalist retreat or a quiet boutique hotel. They wanted to live. They wanted to dance. They wanted to celebrate under the stars with the sound of the ocean in the background. That's how the RIU Party concept was born, a concept that turns the resort into something closer to a private festival than a conventional hotel. And the RIU Caribe is, within the brand, one of the flagship properties of that philosophy. Who chooses this resort? Couples looking for a second honeymoon without any hassle. Groups of friends celebrating birthdays or graduations. Families who want the kids to have their own entertainment while the adults have theirs. And all of them, absolutely all of them, arrive with certain expectations and leave wanting to come back. Stay until the end, because before I close this video, I'm going to share the exact trick to get the best room at this resort without paying extra. The first impression is visual. When the taxi turns toward the entrance of the RIU Caribe, the building appears imposing, white, massive, with that Caribbean architecture that blends colonial and contemporary. Palm trees frame the entrance. The air smells different, more humid, saltier. The lobby is spacious, with high ceilings and natural ventilation you'll appreciate after hours of travel. Now, the most important tip of the entire check-in process, and one almost nobody mentions. During the welcome, they'll walk you through the wristband access system. There are areas of the resort that vary based on the category you booked. Knowing that difference clearly from the very first moment is the key to not discovering mid-trip that there were spaces you had access to and never used. Ask at the front desk. That one question alone can change your entire experience. And while you're at the front desk, do one more thing. Make your reservations at the specialty restaurants. That day, right then. The most in-demand ones fill up within the first few hours. Those who don't reserve in time end up eating at the buffet all week. The room doesn't greet you with a list of services. It greets you with the jacuzzi, running, ready. And that alone says everything about the RIU Caribe's philosophy. Here, luxury isn't optional. It's the starting point. The base category is called the Junior Suite Deluxe. Spacious, with a balcony, a minibar restocked every day, and a bed that doesn't feel like a hotel bed. For couples or families of up to 4, it's more than enough. But here's the tip almost nobody mentions before booking. Not all rooms listed as ocean view have the same view. Rooms on the 8th floor and above have an open, unobstructed, panoramic view of the Caribbean that doesn't compare to the lower floors, where the palm trees and the resort's structure cut off the horizon. If you have a choice, request a high-floor north wing. They don't always guarantee it, but if you ask politely at check-in before they hand you the key, the odds are in your favor. For couples looking for something more intimate, the Junior Suite Oceanfront is worth every extra dollar. A larger balcony, unobstructed views, and that kind of atmosphere where the first 10 minutes in the room already feel like a vacation well chosen. For larger families, the connecting suites are the best option, but they book up fast. Ideally, request them in advance or ask at check-in. They don't always guarantee it, but it works more often than you'd think. And if you're celebrating something special, an anniversary, a birthday, a honeymoon, the RIU Palace category includes a separate check-in, additional amenities, and something very few categories offer in Cancun at this price point: quiet. That section of the resort runs at a completely different pace. Nightly rates for two in mid-season start around $220 for the base category, with absolutely everything included. For the oceanfront, expect somewhere between $280 and $320. When you break that number down against everything you consume in a full day here, the math looks completely different. 6 specialty restaurants, plus the main buffet open for all 3 meals of the day. That's what the Riu Caribe offers in terms of dining, and the difference between eating well and eating really well at this resort comes down to one detail we already mentioned: making your reservations on day 1. What's worth ordering at each spot? The Mexican restaurant has a cochinita pibil that even Mexican guests themselves call authentic. Not the Caribbean version of the flavor, the real thing. The Japanese restaurant surprises you. At a beachfront resort in Cancun, you don't expect the sushi to be at that level. The salmon is fresh, the rolls are generous. The teppanyaki is the kind of dinner show that turns a meal into a memory. The Italian restaurant has pasta made fresh that day. Order it al dente. Otherwise, it's not worth it. One more tip almost nobody uses. The snack bars open between meals are one of the most overlooked perks of the all-inclusive. They're spread throughout the resort and serve everything from nachos to sandwiches. For early risers heading to the beach before the official breakfast hours, that option completely changes the pace of your day. And now that you know how to navigate between rooms and restaurants and dining options, comes the part that divides opinions the most among guests who stayed at the RIU Caribe: the pools and the nighttime entertainment. Because this is where the resort shows you exactly what kind of experience it wants to give you, and it's not for everyone. 5 pools, each one with a completely different atmosphere. That matters more than it sounds at a resort this size, because picking the wrong pool can ruin your afternoon. The main pool is the action pool. Music, entertainment staff, contests, water games. If you're traveling with friends or want nonstop energy, that's your spot. If you're traveling as a couple looking for peace and quiet, that's exactly where you shouldn't be after 11 in the morning. The side pools, the ones that don't show up in the resort's promotional photos, have a completely different vibe. Quiet, lounge chairs available, no entertainment staff. For those looking for that, they're the best kept secret at the resort. The premium pool, for guests who booked that category, is the most tranquil of all and offers direct service at your lounge chair. The beach has something most photos don't capture: depth. It's not a narrow strip between the resort and the water. It's a real beach. Walking barefoot from one end to the other takes about 15 minutes. Non-motorized water sports are included in your rate: kayaking, paddleboarding, basic snorkeling. But there's one that catches almost everyone off guard: an introductory scuba diving class in the pool, no extra charge. And after the sun goes down, the RIU Caribe becomes something else entirely. The central amphitheater delivers real production: singers, dancers, acrobats. The program rotates every night. It's not the generic resort show that repeats the same act all week. After the shows, the nightclub takes over. It runs until 3 in the morning with a live DJ and an open bar. All included, no additional charge. For the traveler looking for that kind of experience, nothing else in the same price range in Cancun's hotel zone comes close. What no other review tells you, and I promised I would, the RIU Caribe runs a fixed schedule of themed parties. Afternoon pool parties on Mondays and Fridays, nighttime parties on Wednesdays and Saturdays. White, neon, pink, jungle, all included with your wristband. Most guests arrive without knowing about it and miss half of them. And with that same wristband, you get daytime access to the RIU Cancun Hotel in the same hotel zone. Another pool, a completely different atmosphere, no extra charge. Very few people ask about it. Almost nobody uses it. Google rating, 4.5 out of 5. For a resort of this scale, with thousands of guests every week, that number says a lot. What guests highlight most in recent reviews: the staff, the energy of the resort at night, and the beach. What they point to most as areas for improvement: maintenance in some rooms and inconsistency at certain restaurants depending on the day of the week. Our honest take: this resort is for you if you're looking for a vacation with zero open decisions. If you want to wake up and have everything, absolutely everything, already taken care of: food, drinks, activities, and entertainment, beach, without opening your wallet once during the day, without planning anything beyond which pool you're hitting first. This resort is not for you if you're looking for total silence, extreme privacy, or the experience of a high-end boutique resort. The RIU Caribe is a large-scale resort. During peak season, there are hundreds of people at the main pool. Restaurant reservations run out if you don't act fast. There's noise, there's movement, there's constant energy. For some people, that's exactly what they came for.
Is it worth the price? Yes, under one condition: that you book the right category for the experience you actually want. A standard garden view room at $160 per person delivers a very different experience than the junior suite oceanfront at $280. Do your research, compare, and choose with the right information. The RIU Caribe delivers on what it promises. No unpleasant surprises. And in the world of all-inclusive resorts, that's worth more than it sounds. One thing before I go. This resort has price differences of up to 35% depending on the season and the booking platform you use. In the video description and on the QR code on screen, I've left a direct price comparison tool for this resort. In under a minute, you can see all available rates for your dates with free cancellation if it applies, no hidden fees. Worth checking before you decide. One last question before you leave. If you could book the RIU Caribe tomorrow, would you do it without a second thought? Or is there still something this video didn't answer? Write it in the comments. I read every single one. And if someone else has the same question, I'll answer it right there. If this kind of in-depth breakdown is what you've been looking for, the channel drops a different resort every week. No ads disguised as reviews, no paid rankings, just the information you need to decide whether a resort is actually worth your money and your time. The next video is about the resort many consider the RIU Caribe's closest competition in the Caribbean, one that costs less, has less name recognition, and that guests who stayed at both say wins in almost every category. Don't miss it.